contrary to all the assessments, and if you look at the publication, I can't remember the title that the Supreme Court puts out, there's a whole series of assessments made by 7 or 8 international rating agencies about Singapore. And also, may I add, that the World Bank has recommended, and in fact brought delegations from many countries to study how the judiciary and the judicial system has progressed in Singapore and is now cited as a model.
Is this the same World Bank that came and said that Singapore had brought this upon itself when it tried to restrict accredited NGO activists accredited with the World Bank from coming into Singapore and conducting its activities? Is this the same World Bank that you're talking about?
We do not comply with every request they make because there are certain things which we believe we know better.
Mr. Lee,
but
your government has given the World Bank, gave the World Bank
just a moment, let me finish.
The green light.
You have asked me this question, let me finish. If the World Bank did not hold Singapore's judicial system in high esteem, it would not have come out with that report, nor would it have brought delegations to come and study us.
That was not my question.
And there are endless delegations which have come to study our system.
That was not my question, Mr. Lee. You brought up the World Bank, and I'm asking you, that World Bank that came and said that Singapore should have let in these accredited NGOs because, listen very carefully, because the Singapore government had an agreement with World Bank to let them in. And it was upon the very last minute that someone in your cabinet made that decision to say no.
I do not attend to these matters anymore. I'm only the minister mentor. I'm not in charge. But I do know that we act in accordance with what we think is the best practices for Singapore. And when we disagree with a particular prescription of how we should behave or how we should conduct Singapore, we have to decide whether that's applicable.
I understand that.
And I know that there are many liberal NGOs who are extremely uncomfortable that a system in Singapore which does not comply with their prescriptions is still up and standing and thriving.
Yes. But Mr. Lee, these NGOs were accredited with the World Bank.
Dr. Chee, I'm going to stop this line of cross-examination. Doesn't get us anywhere on the assessment of damages.
Right. Let me move on, Your Honor. You have a situation where you again are claiming that your integrity is of the highest order. Would you agree with that, Mr. Lee?
That is the position I've taken from the day I took office in June 1959. I've spent more than 50 years of, I would say, 49 years of my life being involved in the strengthening of the system and the institutions that will sustain itself, even if there were flaws in the human beings that run the system.
I'm impressed.
That is the reason why we are still what we are.
I'm impressed. No.
If you are impressed, Mr. Chee,
yes.
If Dr. Chee, if you are impressed, you would not have made these allegations.
Mr. Lee, is this the same integrity that you're talking about, where now declassified documents from London,
irrelevant,
that you have
it's not required to answer.
And I would like, well, Your Honor, just as she's brought up about integrity, and I just want to be able to pursue that line just a little bit more.
Your Honor,
is it the same integrity that you are referring to, Mr. Lee, when now we begin to know, and as a young man, I believed you, but now I'm reading declassified documents from London saying that somehow,
Your Honor,
Mr. Lim Chin Siong was in his
Dr. Chee.
In his political situation, and that
Is
somehow
this allowed?
you had. I beg your pardon, Your Honor.
Question is this allowed? How
You
is
haven't
this relevant to the
you haven't
assessment
even
of
heard my
damages?
question yet. You haven't even heard my question. I'll make my question, and then you can disallow it, Your Honor.
Your Honor, the question is irrelevant on the little that we already know about it because it relates to specific instances.
That when you went to London,
Your Honor,
you had allowed
I would ask Dr. Chee,
what you call the
please show some
clause
respect to this court.
to come in to play,
The question is this
so
allowed?
that Mr. Lim would have been
Dr. Chee?
disqualified, Your Honor. I am just trying to get at this fact that Mr. Lee
I've already...
uses the word integrity, and I want to show the courts right now that Mr. Lee came into power because of certain things
Not relevant
that
to
the
the
government
assessment of
did,
damages.
which deprived his political
On,
opponent
please.
of
You have already...
challenging
we are now
him. Will you answer that, Mr. Lee?
The witness is not required to answer.
You don't want to answer that, Mr. Lee?
He's not required to answer.
That settles the point, doesn't it?